Hey everybody, it's Coach Eric Field here, COO at New Patient Group. Thanks so much for joining us. And I want to use this course as an introductory level where we're going to really lay some foundational mindsets that are so integral and important to how New Patient Group works with our clients, whether that be through on-demand content, whether that be through our coaching program or our digital marketing program as well. This is critical to understanding and appreciating how do you transform your practice and speak the language that it gets the patient thinking about you, liking you at new levels, and wanting to do business with you. Such an integral part of laying that mindset down. So let's begin with why New Patient Group. And really it comes down to three questions here that I'd like you to discuss with your team, offer some consideration towards. And the first question I want you to think about here is, how has the healthcare consumer changed in recent years? Right? So perhaps you're in orthodontics or dentistry, is how has that patient to your practice? How are they changing? What's unique about them today as you compare them with 5, 10, 20 years ago, what they looked like then? Because things are changing quite rapidly. And I'd like you to have a short conversation about what exactly that looks like. Secondarily, how has your competition continued to change? It's evolving rapidly. Definitely new things that are interfering with the success of your organization that you need to navigate around and be prepared to compete with. And the third question here is, as you look at your practice, what part of your practice is commercial versus clinical, right? I think we can appreciate what the clinical means. Things that are specific within the clinical scope of care for that patient. But what else is out there? What other elements of your business come from the commercial side of things? And it's really everything else. So pause the video here for a moment and consider, how has the consumer been changing? What's that dynamic look like and how they relate to your practice? How has your competition been changing? And then ultimately, what part of your business is commercially driven versus clinically driven? Pause the video now. We'll chat in just a moment. All right, I'm sure lots of things came to your mind about how the evolution of healthcare, orthodontics, and dentistry specifically has been evolving, right? How's the healthcare consumer changed? Well, the real reality is they're looking, they're shopping, they're seeking alternate opinions, how they find you, digital formats, Google, websites, social media, all very new to healthcare as compared to 10 and 20 years ago. The likelihood of them seeing multiple opinions, whether that be phone calls, whether that be the in-office experience, so many things have been changing on that front, as well as the referral channels, how they come to find you. Your referral channels are likely very different today than they were 10 years ago. Less likely are you counting on a professional referral, where you're now more likely counting on an internal referral of someone coming to you by word of mouth. Okay, a lot of different things. You probably came up with some additional ones as well. How about that competition, right? Competition meaning not just another orthodontist, not just necessarily another dentist, but now you have online resources where they could be shopping for opportunity. Your competition is now it's discretionary income. They may be looking at, do I invest in orthodontics or do I invest outside of in something that's more of a pleasure item, right? So competition on that front. We now have dental service organizations are a prominent part of dentistry, where we have corporate dentistry rather than just privately owned dentistries. Even on a privately owned basis, we have multi-locations very common today, right? So that's disrupting those referral channels as well, right? So competition is definitely more extreme today than you've probably ever experienced in your healthcare ownership experience. And that last piece there, what part of our practice is commercial versus clinical? And I'm going to tell you, I think it's about 80-85% commercial, with the much smaller portion being the clinical part of the patient experience. And so what do we mean by commercial? It's the communications that you have with patients, the interpersonal, the customer service, the sales, the salesmanship of how we deliver our product and our service to them. All of those touch points are commercially driven and they demand commercial training and attention versus the clinical scope, which is what most practices spend time on. Here's an interesting statistic for you, and you might have read this in the Benson Koppel resource or Dental Economics, but average people call upwards of 5 practices before deciding which to visit. Think about that. If previously it was coming from a general dentist referral, now more commonly, even with that or with an external referral, they're likely calling up to 5 practices as they make their decision. Similarly, people enter up to 3 practices before they make their buying decisions as well. So they're going on more visits. That's so common. And here's an unfortunate reality. Competition, which is greater today than ever, it creates commoditization, which is going to then create shoppers. We are in a world now where orthodontics and dentistry are considered a commodity. And I know that's a negative way to see it, but it's just the simple reality that they feel they can get that product and service in a lot of different places. Worse yet, they feel like they can get a quality result at each of those places as well. So how do you differentiate yourself from the competition goes beyond the clinical piece of it. It's all the other things that are so important, which is what New Patient Group is all about, right? So how we create results, and it goes so much more beyond what I'm reading here, but New Patient Group, we focus on how your practice markets itself, taking an inside out approach, inside your doors rather than outside your doors so much. We bring proven consumer-driven commercial strategies into healthcare. These are the same strategies that have made companies famous worldwide. So you got to look at your business differently. What's always been done inside of healthcare may not and possibly is not already working for you today. We have to bring ideas outside of healthcare, ideas that have made businesses and organizations successful because it's the same consumer. That consumer that's buying outside of your healthcare world, we need to bring those ideas into your healthcare world to trigger them towards purchase no differently. And that's what New Patient Group specializes in doing in partnership with our clientele. Big question here, right? What is marketing? Give you a second here. I'd like you to write down 1, 2, 3 things that quickly come to your mind as you think about what is marketing. I'll give you about 10 seconds here. All right, I hope you wrote something down. What is marketing is kind of a trick question. You may have wrote down it's the way people see your business. Maybe it's a billboard or a radio or a television advertisement. Maybe it's the signage outside your practice. Here's the reality of what is marketing. Everything is marketing. Anything that creates a connection with them that causes a brand impression of your business on their mindset, that is marketing. So it is all those things that you mentioned that were maybe more externally focused, but it's the moment that we pick up the phone, the tone of our voice would be marketing. How we build value and describe things uniquely about our practice is absolutely marketing. When they open your door for the very first time, the vision that they experience when they look about your practice as they're greeted by your receptionist, when they go into your receptionist and see paper towels all over the floor, that's all marketing. It's all the communication touch points, every detail. It's even how your team works off of each other, how they interact with one another. The patient is observing those things, and it is marketing your business. Every touch point deserves attention. We want to shine a spotlight so that all of these details that are branding and marketing your business to the consumer are creating the type of brand impression that you want and are going to move them forward, right? Because again, in a commodity-driven world, how are they making decisions, right? They're weighing what type of treatment am I going to get? They're weighing which provider, which professional am I going to partner with? They're weighing, am I even going to purchase within orthodontics and healthcare, or am I going to do something more personal and for myself? We all go through these decisions every single day. And that's the reality, is we are consumers, each and every one of us, and we make hundreds of decisions every day deciding this or this. And this is how we have to leverage our business. So a big part of the new patient group program is teaching you and teaching your team how to leverage consumer psychology. Because as we're weighing these options, thinking outside of healthcare, every day we are impacted by psychology that's helping us to decide which option am I going to choose. And we should definitely look at bringing those psychological benefits into your healthcare world, because the motivation and the consumer, being a patient in this case, is still persuaded in the same way, right? So important things like effective frequency, repetition, right? Consensus is following that herd, reciprocity, the give and take of the relationship, trading with one another in positive ways. So many things, the halo effect, such a critical piece of consumer psychology. We're going to work with you to leverage each of those things as a benefit as you're trying to persuade the patient towards purchase, right? Because again, with that commodity driven world, we are definitely in a place where price shopping is a normal part of the consumer's buying process. And this is what you're dealing with. But what we do and what we help you to do is convert that mindset from price shopper into a value buyer. We want them not shopping on the price of the product, but we want them buying on the value of what they perceive they're getting from it. Because we all, as shoppers, there are times where we make this decision. We go for the least expensive or a lower expense option because we feel like whatever it's providing to us is sufficient. It's enough. So the quality of what we get combined with the cost of what it is, we blend those two ideas together and we make our decision, purchase or not purchase, right? We do that. Similarly, we sometimes look at it and go, I want more. I want more details. I want more benefits. And I am willing to pay a more premium price. And this isn't unique to buying a house. We certainly do it there. But it's anything that we're buying in life, we make these decisions. Am I going to go with this version of a TV and pay a lower price? Or do I want this version of a TV with extra features and extra benefits, and I'm going to pay more of a premium price? We make these decisions all the time. Which one are you as a practice? Are you this here that's at the median or lower end of pricing? Or are you more likely this one here where you're looking at more of a premium price, right? And you're trying to earn the favor of that patient saying yes to you, even though you're more expensive than yes to your competition, which is lesser expensive. And this is what it all breaks down to. It's the perceived value of that buyer, right? And so for every dollar that you're more expensive than your competition, there has got to be a perceived beneficial value that they think they're getting and are confident that they're getting via the journey of your treatment. Not just the concept of a better smile or a better treatment or a better result, right? It's the whole journey. How am I treated? How do they interact with me? How do I feel about the whole journey of each of those touch points that I'm describing that's gonna justify spending extra dollars? And that's what we have at New Patient Group. Virtually all of our clients are above the average for sure, and most of them are at a premium price, but we've got to really turn a spotlight to the details of making that value proposition what the consumer will invest in. So a big piece of the mindset, this is a seminal concept to New Patient Group as we work with our clients through our on-demand content, as we work with our clients through our VIP coaching program online, as well as in person, as well as our digital marketing program. All of our services are built around helping our clients to go beyond. What do I mean by that? What I mean is that the consumer, your would-be patient, has a vision and an image of what they expect. What does normal look like? From experience, what do they think they're going to get from the experience with your practice? When they pick up the phone, when they come in your door, when they're in your exam chair, et cetera, what do they anticipate that to look like? Is that what you're giving them? Because I hope not. If you give them the expected, you're likely going to be stagnant or fail over time. Whereas going beyond is they think this and you give them this, right? You go well beyond the expectation, and not just one time, but consistently through the journey of their experience with your practice, from your online presence to the phones, to the in-office, to now they're in treatment, right? Now they're post-treatment. That's all part of the journey, and we have got to go beyond if we want to maximize our opportunity for conversion and referrals. A great place to build your business. And where that leads us to is this incredibly important graphic that we're going to see routinely through all of your content, right? Each of the chapters of this free course, as you're going through so many of the different portals of our course curriculum, this graphic's important, right? And what we're seeing here is the consumer journey, right? From the foundation of the leadership and culture within your organization that sets the foundation for your strategies to succeed. Then we begin the journey with your online marketing, your website, your social media, your Google reviews, your YouTube content, all so important of branding your practice in a way that just kickstarts things, where they look at you in a way that's like, I like this place. I think I could find myself satisfied with the relationships at this place. We've got to have that strong online marketing presence. Our team is amazing at partnering with our clients on that. Now we've earned the opportunity for the new patient phone call to take place. But remember, they're feeling up to 5 new patient phone calls as they go through that step of the journey. What are you going to do and sound like that's going to make that a unique piece of this? Your goal can not only be to schedule them. There is so much more that must happen in that new patient phone call that builds momentum in your favor. We've got the downtime you'll learn a little bit more about here in one of the future videos. The new patient experience, so now they're walking in your doors. What's that going to look like? That comprehensive experience. We've got a digital workflow and your exam room process, uniqueness, technology, innovation, important things that we build there to enhance the consumer's learning process. Clear aligners, we are a big believer that clear aligners in orthodontics so important today, as driven by, guess who? The consumer. They're making it grow. We need to lead that charge. All right, and then the financial presentation, we have to speak the language of that patient. Right, and that patient today is not the patient of 20 years ago. So we've got to put away the old ways of doing things and reinvent how we present money with today's consumer language. And then other things that surround and fall within the journey of the patient as they go about that whole patient process as well. So we'll be referencing back on this as we go about this in the future as well. I want to make sure we define this. This is really important. I hope you'll take a note on this if you haven't already. But 5-star customer service, what is that? What are we talking about? And I want to make sure that we define this appropriately, right? Here is what it is not. 5-star customer service is not bending over backward to do everything in benefit of the customer. Customer says, give me, we say, you got it. That is not the definition of 5-star customer service. So the old adage of the customer's always right does not actually mirror with what 5-star customer service is. Because what 5-star customer service really is it's the mutual benefit where that customer exits the reaction or the relationship, the transaction, and they go, I got exactly what I want and beyond from my practice. The practice on the other side looks at it and goes, we got exactly what we want and beyond from our patient. It's the harmony of those two relating together to mutual benefit. When we accomplish that, that's 5-star customer service. And that's something we spend a lot of time, every piece of this journey, are we accomplishing the harmony of the patient and the practice going, that's a win, I feel good. And with that, we're going to get started into your courses today. You're going to learn so much around the whole journey. You saw the stair-step approach. We're going to give you a little taste of every step of that journey so that you can get an idea of what New Patient Group is all about and some opportunities for partnership, as well as ideas that you can implement and install today.